Mr. Speaker.
Kris Faafoi.
Mr. Speaker, I watched that speech and I felt a lot like that speech about the way I feel about this government. I just wanted it to come to an end. It was the longest 10 minutes, and the most scary phrase during that 10 minutes was when Nathan Guy said, "Wait, there's more." Because there isn't any more. This is a government that is tired and out of ideas. And it's behind the 8 ball. This is the party who is saying that it's out there putting more police on their streets. Just 12 months too late. That's a promise that this party over here made at the last Police Association conference, and that's at a time when the government over there was in complete denial about whether there was increased crime and whether our police were stretched. 12 months late. A petrol inquiry. They're now boasting about a petrol inquiry that my colleague Stuart Nash called for about 15 months ago. But guess what? Who blocked that petrol inquiry at the Select Committee? That's right, punters, it was the National Party. So when we wanted to get fairness around petrol prices, when we wanted to get more police on our streets, don't look towards the National Party for the answers. In 2017, people will be looking towards this side of the House to find solutions to the problems that really matter to New Zealanders. And the problem of 2017's election, Mr. Speaker, is going to be housing. Now, yesterday when I got back home from my electorate office, I decided I'm going to go for a walk. I needed to clear my head. So I walked through the park, saw people practising tag, the kids practising tag. I saw some people walking their dog, and when I got around the corner, I saw a man who was standing next to a van. And I pulled my headphones out and I said, "G'day, how's it going?" He said, "G'day, I need to talk to you, Kris, because I need some help. I'm living in my van, and I've been living in my van for the last couple of months. I'm in a really dire situation. I'm waiting for a house in New Zealand house. I'm in a bit of a tough spot personally, but I'm a local and I don't think it should be so hard to be able to find a house for somewhere to live in. I've been dossing at other people's houses, but I don't want to be a burden on anyone else for much longer." This is not a man who was complaining about his lot. He said he had enough food, he was on a sickness benefit, but he couldn't get himself a home. So here he was, still a proud man, still a proud Porirua man, saying, "Why is it so hard for me to get a house in Porirua?" And I agree with him, because it shouldn't be so hard for someone who's lived up in the community, who's grown up in that community, who's worked in that community, to be able to live. Well, I did what any good local MP did, and I got his contact details. No one else was helping him at that stage, and I want to know what that government is doing for him. Pose that question to the people on that side of the House. What are you doing for him? And I can say right now with absolute confidence that that government is doing nothing. So, in this election, when we're talking about solutions to that man's problems and the people waiting for affordable housing and the people wanting to buy an affordable home, not just in Porirua and the Kapiti Coast, but further afield and in Auckland, where the problem is most acute, we are going to do something about it. We have been telling people that we're going to do something about it for some time. I'm very proud of the Kiwi Build program, 100,000 homes over 10 years, because, as the Prime Minister has said far too late, we need to build some homes. We've been saying that for years. We've been saying that for years. The absolute solution to the problem is to build some homes, something that party over there has failed to do in the last 8 years. We hear from Nick Smith about consents, but we don't hear enough about meeting the targets of building those homes. I'd like to see one of those, maybe Nick's got one of these consent warming parties. We can go along and say, "Hey, here's my new house. Oh no, actually it's a bare plot of land because the consent might be there, but the house isn't there." And that is exactly what is going on in Auckland at the moment. They're not meeting the demand that is needed. So on this side of the House, we are going to take some action, and that's why I talk about Kiwi Build. At the last election, we worked with the Porirua City Council to partner with them to use some of their land to build some affordable homes in Porirua. That's part of the solution. That will be replicated around the country so the people that desperately need homes will get them. And I want to talk about leadership, because this is going to be a big issue this year. I'm proud to sit behind my leader, who, as a union boss, stood behind people like my mum when she worked in a factory. When they went on strike, the union stood behind my mum. So when you hear the other side bagging the unions, I want to make sure that all those union members out there who are paid-up members and want to change their government get out there and make sure there is a change of government this year. We've got to make sure we kick them out of office to do all the good things that we want to make sure happen for our communities. Affordable housing, good health care, good education and good jobs and wages for our people. Because for far too long, this government has been in power and ruined all of those things that are fundamental building blocks to making sure that we can live the Kiwi dream. The Kiwi dream of owning a home has all but disappeared. $850,000, I think, is the median price in Auckland at the moment. The government says it's done all it can do. That's not leadership. We need leadership, and that's where Kiwi Build comes in. Mr. Speaker, this year also healthcare is going to be an issue, and I want to talk about that in the context of the front page of the Dominion Post yesterday, where it said that mental health care at the Kinapuru Hospital was unsafe. And that is because of what has happened from this government. What this government has done on purpose has slowly taken $1.7 billion out of healthcare over the last 8 years. What does that mean? It means facilities like that one in Porirua that serves the Wellington region gets run down. The care there can't be up to scratch. The resourcing isn't up to scratch. And what we do get is a report that said for a certain period, 1 in 5 murders that happened here in Wellington was because of the lack of care that was offered by the local DHB. And in my books, Mr. Speaker, that's not good enough. That's not the New Zealand that I think most New Zealanders want to live in, because we want to make sure that those people who are the most vulnerable get the care that they need. Let's start in education. Now, we heard the Education Minister talking about a whole lot of stats, but I think that the biggest challenge that the education system has got at the moment is preparing our workers for the future that we don't quite have yet, but is on the horizon. And that's why I'm very proud of the policy that we have of 3 years free tertiary education for those who haven't done post-school education. That will give people a chance to reskill, to be able to support their families in a workplace which we haven't had yet, but is on the horizon, and jobs will just disappear. That's what I'm proud of. And Mr. Speaker, I think there's a message that I want to say to people who aren't in this House right now, but who are out there in the community, who are frustrated and tired of this government. We need you. We need you to make sure that people are having those discussions, that they're sick and tired of this government. We need you to make sure that you're out there helping us, knocking on doors, delivering pamphlets, making the phone calls so we can have a change of government in 2017. There was a big difference between the two State of the Nation speeches between Bill English, the Prime Minister, who's not a leader, and our leader, Andrew Little, who is a leader. We reaffirmed our commitment to housing, education, health and jobs and wages. What did we hear from Mr English? A rehash of Labour's policy and nothing on housing, and complete denial of the #1 challenge that Kiwi families are facing today. Either getting safe accommodation, getting warm accommodation, or having the chance of buying a house. And what did Mr English say about housing in that speech? Not one sausage. He is in complete denial. They don't want to talk about it because they know they are most vulnerable on the housing issue. One more ask from people who are watching at home, and it's a local ask, because there is a plot of land on Castor Crescent in Cannons Creek which has been empty since the Housing New Zealand homes were demolished back in 2011. Housing New Zealand said they would replace those homes, but they have not yet been replaced yet. That is having an awful effect on that community, because they want people back in their community. They want their area to be vibrant again. Well, we can put some pressure on the government on March the 4th, because I'm holding a public meeting there, and I'm inviting the community to make sure that they come and send a strong message to the government that you promised to put those homes back that you demolished in 2011. And for 6.5 years, you've sat on your hands and done nothing. So come back, make sure you keep your promise, because the families of my area need homes to live in. Because the man that I saw on my walk yesterday needs a house to live in. The people that come to my electorate office need a house to live in. And this government has done nothing to help those people. So to Jackie Dean, who asked me, what did you do about it? I'm doing something about it, and your government has done nothing for the last 8 years. You've sold houses, You've sold houses and not built enough to keep up with demand, and that is going to be your downfall in 2017.